Hey guys, welcome back once again. In this video, we will create a React to-do application using Redux Toolkit. As you can see here, I am listing all the to-dos, and here at the top, this is the title, and here this is the due date, and here this is the status. On right side, as you can see, we have these action buttons. Okay, and at the middle, as you can see here, we have add to do button. In order to create a new to do, you have to create on this add to do, and here as you can see the pop-up modal window will get open and you have to fill here details. So here go for shopping, and now let's select a date, so let's call it as 14, and here pending. Let's click on create here, and now as you can see it has been created at the down with the status pending. Okay, now in order to update I have to click on this, and again the same modal window will get open. So here we are using the same component, and now let me change the status to complete, and here as you can see right now the status got updated. So now if you want to delete, click on this delete button and to do will get deleted from your list. And here as you can see on hover over I am displaying a tooltip delete to do, and for the update as you can see it's edit to do. So now let me click on this, and here as you can see we don't have that to do anymore. Okay, so in this tutorial we will learn how to perform CRUD operation, and second we will see how to use Redux Toolkit as a beginner. Third, we will see how to use Material UI in our application. As you can see this design has been done based on the Material UI. And fourth, we will see how to design a pop-up modal window. So as you can see on click of add to do, this pop-up modal window is getting open, and here if I click on update it will get open again. So how to design this component and how to make reusable component. Okay, so now let's jump to VS Code and let's build React Redux to-do application. So here as you can see already I have created a sample project for us, and the project name is my app. First of all, let's go with the project folder structure. So here as you can see we have node modules. So basically node modules have all downloaded dependency what we have installed for our application, and here this is the public folder. So basically public folder have this index.html, and this is the only one HTML file our application will have. So basically this is going to be our entry point of application. And after that src come into the picture. So most probably we will be working in src only. So here as you can see we have this app.js and we have here index.js. So here we will be touching this app.js and app.css, and rest of the file we will not touch anything. And if you want we will going further, if needed we will create our custom component here and we will keep those and we will use in app.js. Okay, so now this is the git ignore. So whatever you don't want to push on git you can ignore inside this, you can mention those. And here this is the packet.json. So packet.json will have all the information about your application, so basically the name and all those stuff. And the dependency, this is the main thing. So what are the dependency you are using in this application, all the dependency will be installed and it will kept here. Okay, after this we have this script. So whenever we will write npm start or yarn start, so basically this script will get triggered and it will call this react script and it will start your application. We have here ESLint config, and we have this browser list, and this is the development browser. So now coming to the next file, readme file. So whenever a new person is interacting to your application, he might not have understanding what this application is and how to run this application. So basically the readme file give a instruction to start your application and how to run for a new person. So let's say if newly someone have joined your team and he is not sure what are the things have to be done and how to start your application and what are the credentials. So let's say means we are working on development side. So in that case, what we can do is we can mention here the things. So npm start have to be done, and if there is a credential for the development purpose only. So here we are not talking about the production. Okay, so those credential can be mentioned here. And now here yarn.log. So whenever we will modify this packet.json, this file get created. Okay, so now here let's come to the UI, and this is how our application is looking. So in order to understand this whole tutorial, so I would say you need to have a minimal knowledge of React, and here I will be covering this Redux from the starting, so you don't have to worry anything about that. And I am planning to use Material UI for the styling and designing purpose. So Material UI is one of the most used React styling library. So now let's jump to Material UI first of all. So here mui.com. So you can find this link in description of this video. Now here let's click on get started, and it will take you to installation. And here as you can see, to install and save in your packet.json dependency, run this command. So if you are using npm, copy this command and run on your console, and if you are using yarn, you can copy this one. Okay, either of you can do that. So now let's come back here. Let me close this. So now you can open a new terminal here. So by clicking on this symbol here, you can open a new terminal. So now let's see if you are not able to see the terminal, means this is something like this. Go to the top, and here as you can see the terminal option, and select here new terminal. So it will open a new terminal for you, and execute this command. So whatever you have just copied, paste it here and execute it. So already I have installed these 3 libraries. So now let me show you here. So here I have installed all these 3. So I am not gonna to do this. Okay. So now here, first of all, what we will do is we will remove this boilerplate code. Okay. And here, in order to get started, we will be building a to-do application, and the to-do will have few property. So the first property, I would say the title of the to-do, and there will be the ending date, or let's say the creating date when it has been created, or if you want, we can call it as a due date as well. Okay, so when this task have to be done. Now the next thing will be a status of the task, whether the task has been completed or not. And we will see how to update those to do, and how to delete, and how to add a fresh new to do by using the model pop-up. Okay, so now here, first of all, let me design a structure. So here let me render a heading. So h2 react app, and I saved it. Now let me delete this, and here I am closing this, and let's get back here. And here as you can see, I am getting my React app, the heading what I have rendered. First of all, we will create a structure, means UI, and after that we will start jumping to the Redux and all those stuff. Okay, so I want to make things very easy. Let's create some to do. So I will call it as to do's, and here this is gonna to be an array, and here object, and now I need to define the shape. So here let me call it as title. So title, and let's call it as let's play. Okay, and as I mentioned, title is the one property, and the second property I can call it as due date 22/5, and here 2020. Okay, the next property here a status, and here I will define this value as a pending. Done. So now our task is we have to render these things on our UI, and here this is the only one. Now I might have the many others. So here as you can see, I have the second one as well. So go to market. Okay, and let it be pending, or let's mark it as a completed, and I will give date of last month. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to render this on our UI. So for that, here for the rendering, here I have planned to use the list item. So right now here let's click on this search and type here list. So go to list, and here as you can see, this is the list how it looks. You can, if you want, you can customize this something like this. Okay, so now here I will come to this photo. Let's come there. So I will copy some of the code here. Okay, and I will paste it here. Now let me close this list, and here we have to import it. So let me import one by one. So list item and author. So I hope author in the sense this is what author is, so we don't need this one. So I will remove this completely from here. So list item author and author icon we don't need, so I am gonna to remove these things. Okay, so now we have this list item. Okay, and here we have list item text. So let me import text here. Now let's save it and let's get back to our application. And here as you can see at the top we have this photo. So here we will be rendering our title, and below we have here, this is the secondary text, so date. So we will be rendering our due date. Okay, so for that here let's style. So here style and change the background color first of all, because it's not looking with good white color. So I will call it as blue. Now let's get back, and here as you can see the blue color has been applied. Now here we will remove this max width property, so it will take whole width. Done, and now it is gonna to take whole width. Okay, so let's do right click, go to inspect, and here right now we have to select any one of the thing. So let's select here this style, and from there here as you can see we have this blue color. So right now here we will decide which color to keep. Okay, so let's copy this color. So here I am changing, and this is done. I will come here and paste it. Okay, so now here this color will persist. Okay, now what I have to do is, already I have this list, so I have to render again and again. Okay, so here as you can see this is the list. So list will be there. I am not gonna to do anything there. I will break the line, and here curly bracket. Okay, and Todos. So basically we have to render the same thing and again. So we will use here map function. So todo is a array. So here map, and this map will give me a single object. So first time it will give me this object, for the second time it will give me the second object. Okay, so now here I will call it as todo. Okay, and I will copy this list item from here and paste it inside, because this part I want to render again and again. Now let me save it and come back here. So here as you can see this is the 2 time it has got rendered the photo, because the length of the array is only 2. So now if I comment 1, it will get rendered only once. Okay, so now here we are rendering this 2 times, so we have to render our Todos. Means here todo.title, primary is the photo, so we have to provide here title. So I will refer here todo. So basically this todo, and this is your object. So here I will get the property. So right now here I can call it as todo.title, and here in secondary I can provide todo dot and here due date. Now let's save it and get back here. So here as you can see this is how it looking. Okay, so now both are collapsing with each other. So let's do one thing, provide a margin. So margin bottom, and let's give 1 pixel. So there, as you can see, there is a minor line, so let's make it as a 2. Okay, so we have gap in between. Okay, so now there is a one more thing. So here, as you can see, we have this status here and here. I want to render a status after immediately this line here, means after the due date. So how can I do that? So for that, here what we can do, here instead of rendering this due date simply as a string, I can pass a div and I can do that. So for that, here, so here fragment, okay, and first of all I will render here to do. So in curly bracket I need to write to do dot, and here I will write due date. Okay, and the second thing I need to render is there something called chip. So now let's come back here and let's search for chip component. Okay, so this is how our chip will look like. So now here what I have to do is I will copy this. So let's copy and come back here, and here we have to paste outside of this to do due date. So let's come out and paste it here. Okay, so now it will complain because we haven't imported this chip. So let's import from the material UI. Okay, save it and let's get back here. So here, as you can see, we have this date and we have chip here. Okay, but still we need to work on this. So let's get back, and here it label will be our text whatever we are rendering. So now let me remove this and I will call it as to do dot and here a status. Okay, and let's define size small. So small. Now get back, and here as you can see it's pending and it's small. Now for the coloring, what we can do is we have other styles. So here as you can see we can define the color as a primary, as a success. So here let's do this. So I will check color and I will call it as here success. So success, and now get back. So both will be green only, but now I want to do it conditionally, means whenever it's pending I have to show in red, and whenever it's completed I have to show in green. So for that, here what I will do is I will check a condition. Okay, so I will check what is the value of a status. So now to do dot a status, and I will compare with the value. So if value is pending, okay, so if value is pending I have to show a red color. So I will return here error. Okay, this is the another one property material UI. So now let's come back, and here as you can see this is the pending, we are getting in red, and completed we are getting in green, because we are doing the conditional rendering of this color. Okay, so now as you can see there is one more issue. The issue is here, as you can see size is not matching of both. So let's work on that. So here let's define the style. Okay, and here I will define width as a 80, and let's see if it work, and yeah, it's working fine. So here right now as you can see width is same for both and it looks good as well. So now we have to move this chip little bit right side, means there should be a gap in between. Okay, so what I can do is here I can define a property and I can do that. So now let's write here in a style itself. So margin left, and here let's get 10 pixel of margin in left side, and now as you can see we have this margin here. Now we have to render two buttons as well. So here we will render two buttons, one for edit and another one for delete. So here let's come back and do that. So I thought we can use the chip, that would be more better. So here item, so it will get done, and this is the text item. So here I will write our actions. So let's call it as cheap, and here I need to define this label as a first edit. Okay, come back here, and here as you can see we have this edit button. Now we have another one, so cheap, and we will give this label as a delete. Okay, so now as you can see we have this edit and we have this delete. So now let's come back here, and here as you can see if we are not providing this variant as a outline, this is how it will look like. So we will define primary color to edit, and for delete we will define warning color. So let's write color, and here I will call it as primary. Okay, and for here this delete I will define this color as a warning. Now let's get back here, and here as you can see this is how it's looking. So now as you can see this is how we have to render our component going further. Okay, so what I have done is I have wrote all the codes in app.js. So now it's time to segregate all the codes. So right now let's create a folder and let's call it as components. Okay, and inside the components let's create a file and call it as todo.js. Okay, so here capital T. So now let's make it as a functional component. So import react from react, and here const todo return, and I will return a JSX from here. So div, and this is the todo, and here in order to import in other component I need to export it here. So export default todo. Okay, so now here whatever we have done, let's copy these things. Okay, only the list item part, and here we will call our component what we have just created, and we will move this code there. So here todo. Okay, now save it. So here on UI as you can see 2 times todo. So now let's get back, go to this component, and here replace this with what we have copied. Okay, so here bracket and here as well. Okay, so these are the property not defined here. So right now here I will copy this thing and paste it here. Okay, but still it's saying todo is not defined, because here this is the todo which is not defined here. So now we have data here in our parent, and this is become a child component. Okay, so here I need to send data from parent to child, and this can be done by using the concept called props. So here I will pass this todo information to this component, and it will get rendered there. So here I will write this todo. Okay, whatever you want you can write here, that is not an issue, and I will pass this todo value there. So here todo. Okay, so actually you can write anything here. Suppose you want to write data, you can do that, that is not an issue. And here we are passing this todo. So now here we are passing from parent to child. So here I will get a props. Okay, in our child component. So now let me do console.log to this props. Okay, and it's failing, right? So here it will not work, but let me comment this code as of now and let's see. So here commented, and come back, do inspect and go to console. So here as you can see I got a object, and here we have one property called todo, and we have this data in todo. Okay, so now here what I can write is I can do 2 things, and the first here is I can write here to do. So props dot to do. Okay, I will get the data, or I can destructure the to do's from the props because props is an object. So here right now I can do this. So const to do equal to props. Okay, and this is done. Got it? So now instead of doing here this, what I can do is I can do these things here itself. So right now here what I have to do is curly bracket, and I can write to do here itself. Okay, so there is nothing difference between destructuring and this one. We can do either one and both are fine. Okay, so now if you come here, as you can see, still it's getting rendered, but right now this to do component is responsible for rendering a single component. Okay, so we have segregated this component right now. Got it? So now let's see this styling first of all. So here I will call it as const cheap style. So cheap style, and this is an object where I will define this width as a 50, and now here let's provide this style. So here cheap style, let's copy this and paste it here as well. Okay, so now as you can see both are unable to render, so I can increase the width from here, so it will get applied on both. So 100, and now let's see, so they have more than enough space. So right now I will go with 80. Okay, so now it looks better. So now on console, as you can see, we are getting one warning, and the warning is each children in a list should have a unique key to the props, and they are talking about here in app we are rendering this to do again and again. According to this React, they want a key to be passed here. Okay, so I can write here to do dot, or let me pass here. So to do dot, I can pass title. So I know this title is gonna be unique, so here I am passing to do dot title. So basically why we are passing this key? So we have here concept virtual DOM. So whenever we make changes, the virtual DOM will get updated and it will update the real DOM. So key is the property on the basis of which it will try to do. So let's say if we have a similar key, then there will be an issue. That's why React itself is saying you have to provide this key as a unique one. So which help virtual DOM to update certain DOM element only. Okay, so now save it, and here as you can see nothing has been changed. Now let me refresh this, and here as you can see we are not getting that warning anymore. Okay, so we will see, we will fix this one as well going further. And now this is the logo and chip we have imported but we haven't used, so we will see going further. So now it's time to get started with Redux. So basically why we are going for Redux? So now as you can see we have here one state, and we are passing this data from one component to other component. So now let's consider I have a multiple hierarchy, means I have 10 component hierarchy, and I have to pass username from root to the last one. So this is how I have to do again and again as a props. So I will be passing this username with the component which I don't need anything there. I don't have to use that props username there. So that is the unnecessarily we are passing. Okay, and you know whenever we will update any state, it will get re-render all the component which are using that state. So again that will be the another one issue. So here we have concept called Redux, and basically this Redux what it will do is it have a central store. There we can store a value, and wherever we want we can retrieve that value and we can use it. We don't have to pass as a prop to the multiple hierarchy. Means most of the people they talk what is the difference between the Redux and context, because context used to do the same, right? But the context have one problem is, if we update any state, it will update all the components. Okay, but in case of Redux, it will update the particular component only where we are consuming that state value. So it will remove unwanted re-rendering. So in order to use Redux in our application here, let's open terminal, and here we need to install some package. So here we need to install Redux and React Redux. Yarn, I need to provide here add and Redux and React Redux. Okay. So first of all, let's create a folder and call it as store. So basically we will keep all the things related to Redux there only. Okay, because here we are gonna to follow the best practices as well with the folder structure too. So right now here store. Okay, now inside this store I need to have a provider, so I will call it as a Redux provider.js, and now this is gonna be a simple functional component. So let's do that. So here import react from react, okay, const redux provider, okay, and return, and here basically it will return provider, and this is gonna to come from the React Redux. And here we need to pass a store, so I will call it as a store, and here we haven't created this store yet, so we will create it. Now inside this provider, what we have to do is we have to wrap our complete application. Okay, so here we have seen how to use and pass data as a props. Now we will see what is children. So now here after destructuring I will get a child, so as of now let's call it as a props, and here let's do console log to this props. Okay, before that let's export default this Redux provider. Okay, now let's remove this store because we don't have that value. So let's remove this and come to app.js. Okay, and we will wrap our component. So the thing is we can wrap here itself, but still you can see we have few codes. So better way to wrap your component with Redux provider is index.js. So here as you can see you have this app, and this is the app component you are calling. So we are calling it index.js, and setting up this Redux provider is the only one-time thing. It's better to do in index.js. Okay, so right now here what I will do, I will write here Redux provider, okay, and I will pass this component as a child here. Got it? So now here I am passing this app as a children. If we pass here something, so let's call it as a data, and here some value, so that would be a props. But if you are passing inside that component, so here this is the opening and this is the closing tag. So here if you are passing in middle, that will be a children. Okay, so now let's come back, and already we are doing the console log, so we will get here that object. So let me refresh this. Okay, so here as you can see we have a property called children, and if you can see here going further we have React element, because we are passing app, and app is a component. It's not a string or it's not a number, so that's why we are getting here React element. So now here what we have to do, here in Redux provider I can destructure children, so children, okay, and I can render that children here. Okay, so let me remove this. Okay, so now as you can see we can't see anything, so let's read here what is the error. So cannot read property of undefined reading get state. So here we have to pass property store. So we are not doing, that's why we are getting error. So here let's pass this store here. Okay, now we need to create a store. So here const store, and basically we can create a store by using create store. Create store we can import from Redux. So now here let's get back, and now it will complain again, and it's saying expected the root reducer to be a function, instead received undefined. So basically this restore is gonna to take a reducer, and we are not passing anything here. So right now let's pass a simple function. Okay, now let's get back and refresh here. So here as you can see it's getting rendered, and still we are not passing anything. So right now here we have to create another one folder, and we have to pass reducer. Okay, so reducer is the thing where we can manipulate the data. So right now here we are in store. So let's create another one file, and let's call it as reducer.js. Okay, so reducer is a function which is gonna to take two parameters. The first parameter is gonna be initial value, and second parameter will be action. Okay, so now here export const reducer, and here we have to pass initial state. Okay, and the second thing is action, and this is the arrow function. Now this action will have two things. The first is type, and second is payload. So let's destructure that. So here type and payload, and I am destructuring from action. Okay, now we have to create this initial state. So for that here const initial state. Okay, and here we will have Todos, and we have to provide array. So now let it be a empty array. Now type is a action type. So basically what are the operation we can perform? So either we can retype a to do, or we can delete a to do, we can update a to do, or we can create a to do. So these are basically all four operation we can do. So here type will have all those information, and we will write a logic here itself. So right now let's write here switch, and here I will pass type. Okay, and write here case. So here add so to do, let it be in caps because this is the something we have to hard code. So here return, and what I have to return? I have to return here state. So here I can call it as a state equal to initial state. So here I know that I have only one property. So here Todos, and I am trying to add. So basically here I will spread all the Todos. So state, so spread state dot Todos. Okay, and now I will add a to do object. So here I hope this payload will have that. Okay, so basically what we are doing, let's consider this is an array. So we are spreading that array, and now all those things will be in object, and this payload will get me a new object of new to do. So here we are combining all of them, and we are again wrapping in an array, means making array, and again we are assigning to this to do. Okay, which will be available here. So now let's define here default case, and here return state. Okay, so now we are exporting this. So we need to import it here, reducer, and we got imported. Now if you come here, we will not see that error anymore. We don't have. Okay, now we have to check how to get this value. So before doing that, here I would like to separate this store as well in a different folder. So here this folder name itself is a store. So I will create here index.js. Okay, and I will move this code there. So here cut, and I will move here, and I will export this one. So export const. Now need to import, so let's do that. Okay, so a reducer again we have here, and a store we are exporting, and here we need to store, we need to import it. So done. So now we have handled the folder structure as well, very well. So this index file have only the store file, this reducer have a reducer, and here we have this Redux provider. Okay, so now Redux setup is done, and now we have to retrieve value from the store. And if you do remember, in reducer we have this empty array. So how to get it in our component? So let's come to app.js, and here we have to use another one hook in order to get data from the store. And here I will call it as state, and here use selector. And basically this is a hook come from the React Redux, and this is a function, and here I will write state. Okay, so we are returning this. So now let's do one thing, console.log to this Redux store. So here Redux state, and here I will print this state. If you come here, as you can see, I have a to do of 0th element. I don't have anything, but I am getting this. So now whatever we have here, let me cut it from here, okay, and paste it in our reducer. Done. So now here, okay, let it be empty array. And now if you come back here, as you can see, this Redux state have to-dos of 2 array. And if you expand here to-dos, and we have this data. Okay, so right now here we need to get only the to-dos. So I can write here to-dos, and this state will have array. As you can see here, this is the array. Okay, so now here I will change this to to-dos, and we can remove this. Okay, so now if you can see, it is still working as similar. Means right now we are getting this to do from our store, and we are passing to this component, to do component. So here let me go to this reducer and comment one to do. Okay, and if I come here on UI, as you can see, I have a single to do, and this is because I have only one data in our store itself. Okay, so right now here let's do the next thing. Okay, so now what we have to do is, let's close all the folders here. First of all, we don't have to go there anymore. So basically right now we have to focus on adding a new to do. Okay, so for that here, let me get a simple button as of now. So button add to do. Okay, and this will get rendered here. Now I need to do a setup. I need to design something. So on click of this, one pop-up will get open, and there will be form. We will enter something, and it will get added to our to-do list. Okay, so for that here, now let's come and search another one component, and that is called dialog. Let's go there, and here as you can see, this is how our dialog will look like. Okay, so this is basically a form dialog. Got it? So now let's copy this whole thing. So I will copy this code. Okay, and here in this component itself, I will create another one file. Okay, and I will call it as to do form.js. So here let's change this. So to do form, and here I will make it as a functional component with the arrow function. Okay, done. Need to export this. So export default, and here to do form. Okay, so now here If I call this component in our app.js, it will get rendered. So let me show you. So here to do form, and now if you come to UI, here you will be able to see this dialog, and on click of this pop-up is getting open. Okay, but right now we have already this button, so on click of this button we have to show this. So how can we do that? So for that, here what we have to do is we have to manage a state here itself. So here I will call it as open set open equal to use state, and this value is initially gonna to be false. Okay, and here I will write another one function to change that state. So here const handle change. Okay, and basically it will toggle that. So here set open, and here I will call it as a pre value. So basically this will give me the pre-open value, what is the previous value, means current value, and I need to change this. So I will write here pre-open. Okay, so right now here what I have to do is on click of this I need to call this function. So here on click I need to call this handle change. So now here let's come to this to do. Okay, and we will remove few codes here. So the first code is here open dialog, I don't need, and here I will pass this value as a true, let it be true. Handle close, yeah, definitely we need to pass this one. So I don't need to manage a state here. So let's destructure two property, so open and handle change. Okay, so let's replace this one, and we have to pass this property from there. So let it be open, and from here let's pass open. We have this open and handle change equal to handle change. So now as you can see it's breaking, use state is not defined. Okay, so I need to import use state. So here import react from react use state. Okay, now it's done. Let me refresh. Handle close is not a function. Okay, so handle close, where is that function? So let's go to this, and here handle close. So I have wrote this as a handle change. Okay, so now as you can see we are not getting anything. So now let me click on this button, and here as you can see this pop-up is getting open. So now if you want default pop-up to be open, what you have to do is if you pass this value as a true, so here value is true. So now as you can see the first time itself we are getting this open. If I click here it will get close. So now if I click outside as well it will get close here. And let's design this form here. So we don't need this kind of text here, so we need this text at the top. So for this here, so here add new to do. So now I need to get couple of text field. For that here, let it be the first one. So type, let me remove, and label have to be title. Okay, done. And now let me copy again and paste it 2 times, and here make it as a date. So type as a date, and here title will be due date, and get back here. So now as you can see we have extra text field, and this is for due date. But the problem with this due date is it's collapsing with the placeholder and label. So whenever we come here, this due date have to be at the top only, and placeholder have to be here. So for that here we need to add a extra property. So that is called input label props. Okay, and this is the object, and here we can define one property called string. and let's pass this value as a true. Now let's get back. So here as you can see, default due date at the top here. Okay, it will not shrink as the title does. Now we need to render a select. In that there will be two options, pending or completed. So now come to material UI, and here let's search for select, and here as you can see this select they do have. So here as you can see this is the basic one. So now let's get back, and this is the standard what we are looking. So let's come here. So let's grab this from form control. Okay, come here and paste at the last. Okay, we have to do required import. So here as you can see select age and these values are not there. So right now let's not worry about the value here, and on change, and this is called a status, and here as well on UI I want to show label as a status. So now we need input label. So here form control, it suggested input label, and here select. This is the menu item. Done. So what I have done is I have removed one letter and I wrote the same. It have given me an auto suggestion, and I have hit enter, so it got auto imported one by one. Now let's come back here. Now as you can see it's getting rendered, but it's not taking whole width. So for that here as you can see on form control we have this styling, and here we are defining the minimum width. So let's remove this. Okay, and here let's call it as full width. Now let's get back, and here as you can see we have this title, we have this due date, and here a status. So right now we need here property pending or completed. So let's render them. Okay, so this is the one thing what we can do, but the better way what we can do is here we can hard code the status. So let me show you const, and here a status. Okay, and here I can make a array. So here basically it will be pending, and here completed. So completed. Okay, now here instead of writing one by one I can render where that, and I can do this. So here a status dot map, and this is gonna to give me a single status, and here cut this and paste the same part inside, and I don't need to right now assign something like this. So directly I can call it as a status, and here 2. So a status. Now let's comment, or let's remove this line, save it and get back here, click on add, and still you can see we have these two pending and completed. So pending is spelling is wrong, so here pending. Okay, now done, and here as you can see everything looks good. Now cancel, or here we have this add option because we are designing for the add. So here, or let's call it as create. So now we have designed this form. We have to do one more thing. We have to mark this all field as a required. So for that here let's add this required here to required. So here we have marked this input field as a mandatory. So now let's remove this text here. So to create a new to do, please fill the below form. Is we have to manage a state. So here I will call it as a form data. So now here let's manage a state. So form data set form data. Okay, use state, and here I am gonna have a initial state. So initial state. So right now I need to get this initial state. So let me hard code this. So initial state, and this is a object which will have all this information. So title as a empty. Okay, and here we have this due date, and next thing here I have to provide a status. So a status empty. Okay, now this is the form data. So I will get this value out by using destructuring. So here I am destructuring this property from form data. So form data. Okay, now here in value I can provide this title, id as a title, and let me add here value, and here it will be title. So here id, so it will be due date. Okay, and again value will be our due date. Okay, the next one here in form control. So here id, I will mark this id as a status, and here okay, and let's remove this a status. Okay, now here I need to provide the value. So here value will be a status. So now we have to handle the on change event. So for that I will write a function. So call it as const handle change. It will have an event, and let's do console log to this event. So basically let it be e dot and target dot value, and the next one I want e dot target dot, and here id. So here as you can see I am getting an error that handle change has already been declared. So right now here handle input change, let's call on change event. So on change, and pass our handle input change. So here we need to pass a parameter, so arrow function, and this is gonna to give me an event, and I will pass this event. Okay, so let's do this here and here too. Okay, so right now our function is here. So these are the constant, and here this is the function, and handle input change. So we are calling. Let's get back here and let's clear it and write here something. So as you can see I got G and O, and here this is the name title I have given. Now let me try with date here. So here as you can see due date, and I got the value, and here this pending, and here I got this id as undefined. So let's come back, and here I have id, I do have here, I am not sure why it's returning something like that. So id status, and now let's do this. Still there is a issue. Okay, so right now let's do one thing here. Let's pass two things here. Right now let's not get this property dynamically, we will get this property only, and we will hard code, means from here we will pass this property. So here that is the key, so I have to pass one key. So for this I will be passing key from here, and key I can hard code as a title here as well. So this is the key, and I will call it as due date, and for here a status. Okay, so now I will get both property. So right now here const, I will destructure this value, and from the target e dot target. Now we need key, so we have a key. Now we need to update our state. Okay, so for that here what I will do is I will use this set form data. So set form data. So right now let's destructure form data. So form data means whatever the property already we do, we will get it here, and now we need to modify based on the key. So here key, and right now I will pass the value. Okay, so now let's come back here and type here go. Let's select a date from here and select here pending status. If I click here create, means we should get the data, because right now we are not showing on submit, so we have to do this. So right now let's wrap this all text field in a form tag. So form, okay, and cut this property from here, paste it, and I can write here on submit. Okay, and on submit we will have a function, and I will call it as a handle submit. So handle submit. So right now let's define this function first of all. So con handle submit, okay, and do here console.log all the property what we have already in form data. So here form data. So for that here handle submit. Okay, now let me click here on this, and here as you can see we got here due date, a status and title. If I write something, go to market with these details, I got those things here. Okay, so now we are getting here, and we need to send these things to our reducer. A reducer will take care of the remaining thing. So for that here what I am gonna to do, I need to dispatch an action from here on handle submit, and remaining thing have to be taken care by our reducer, means Redux part. So how can we do that? So for that here first of all I need to import useDispatch. Okay, so let me write cons and here dispatch. Okay, useDispatch, and here instead of printing this we have to dispatch our action. So here dispatch, and basically this dispatch is gonna to take a object, and this object contains two information. So first of all type, what is the type of action, and the second thing here will be payload. So payload, and payload will have our form data. Okay, so now what is the type we have to pass? So if you do remember, go to reducer, we created a type called add to do, so we will pass the same. Okay, so now here let's come back and pass this the same tag. Now what it will do, once we will trigger, it will come here and it will add to do here. Okay, so for this here let's do console.log to our type of action. So basically we will be aware that what's going on. Okay, so this is the initial, as you can see initial one type has been triggered. Now we have to add something, so let's write go, and here fill the date, create, and there as you can see add to do, and so here go, as you can see on back side it's getting created right now. So now here this is the logic basically we wrote here in add to do. So what we have done is here we are spreading how many to dos we have, and the new to do what I am getting in payload I am adding here that object. Add to do is working fine. We have to focus on the other thing here, edit and update. So for that here let's create a different action, or before that here I would like to create another one file Okay, and let's call it as a action. So here action type.js. Now let's export const and here add to do, and I will paste what add to do have. So export const update to do okay. Now export const delete to do. So you might be thinking why we are doing this. So first of all, what we will do is here, let's get back. Okay, and here as you can see we have this hard coded, so we were not gonna to hard code anymore. Okay, we will import it from the our action type. If in future if we change there, we have to make only one changes and it will work. And here as well we will import from the same place. So add to do. Okay, now we have to do same thing for edit. So before that let's handle delete to do. So delete to do. Okay, and here we need to write our logic. So here this will be the object and to do's, and here this is gonna to be an array. Now in order to delete we will pass id from there. Okay, so our to do don't have any id, so let me add id. Okay, and while the creating as well I will add a new id. So here in order to delete this, here we need to write a logic. We will write a function using the filter and we will try to match the id. If id is not matching, that means we don't want to delete that particular record. If id matched, we will record that. Okay, because in payload we will get id. So right now here need to write what already we have here is state dot to do's dot this filter function, and this filter will give me a single to do. So right now to do dot id, and if id not equal to payload, okay, it means return that object, and if it's matching don't return that object. Okay, and this function filter function always return a array, so that's why we are not converting into a array. Okay, now we have done with the logic, so we need to handle this event. So before that here let's come here and we need to add here id. So here we are passing this payload, so we will try to add id here itself. So I am spreading it, and now I can add id. Okay, so let's call it as math random. Okay, and basically it will create a random id. So now what we have to do is we have to handle the click event here. Okay, so let's come back and let's go to do. Here we have this edit button. Okay, so right now as you can see it's not showing any symbol, it's simple. So let's add another one property in a style, and here cursor, and let's call it as a pointer cursor, and here as you can see we have this cursor. Okay, and if you want we can add the title here as well. So title, and let's call it as edit to do. So here as you can see edit to do I am getting here. Okay, so now similarly I can write a title here again, delete to do. Okay, so now it will work. And the next thing is I have to handle on delete here. So let's write on click, and basically I will pass this to do, and here I will call it as handle delete, and here todo.id. Okay, so let's write this function here, const handle delete, and it will give me a id. Okay, now I need to do the same thing again. I need to import useDispatch. So here I will do const dispatch equal to useDispatch. Okay, and here right now dispatch, this is gonna to be a function which is gonna to take a action, and action will be a object. So type, and here type we have already mentioned, so delete to do, comma, and right now we need to pass payload, and this payload is gonna to be id. So now let's comment this part first of all. Okay, and we will do console log to our id, what we are getting there. So now let's get back and click on this. So here we don't have any id, so I don't need to pass it from here. I can directly write todo.id. Now let's see. So here as you can see I got id 1 and here 2. Okay, so basically here this is the event, so we are not consuming that, and handle todo.id directly I am passing here. Now let's comment this line and uncomment the very next and come back here. So now let me click on delete here, and here as you can see that particular to do has been deleted, and on console delete to do action type as you can see. So now we are able to add a new to do, and we are able to delete existing to do. So now our task is to update a to do. So before that here what we have done is, so now here we are handling this in this to do component itself. So let's handle this delete operation from the parent function. So in order to do that here, let me cut this, and here I will get this as a handle delete as a props here, and let's come to the app.js, and here I need to pass this property. So handle delete, let's paste that function. Okay, and let's remove that here this dispatch import, because we are not using there anymore. Okay, so here I need to import it, so I will do this const dispatch equal to useDispatch, and remaining thing here I need to pass this handle delete. Okay, so now here we are passing and we are doing almost the same. So we need to import this delete to do. So delete to do got imported, and id we are getting from there. So everything looks good. Now let's come back and refresh this page and click on this delete, and here it's got deleted. Okay, so it's working. So now in order to handle the update, let's come to todo.js. Okay, and here we have this button edit or update. So let me mark it as update, and here on click of this particular button, we have to call a function and we have to pass this complete to do. Okay, so right now here I will write handle update, and I will pass here complete to do. So this handle update is not function here, so I will get it as a props, and let's come back here and let's define this function. Here handle and again handle update. I will get here to do which have to be up to date. So now let me do console log and print this to do here. So if I click right now here, as you can see I got the id1 information. completely on our parent function here app component. Right now this to do information we will be passing as a props to this to do form. So before that here I will create a state. Okay, so const, and here I will call it as update data. So update data set update data, and let's use state and pass this value as a empty. Okay, so right now once we will handle this update, we will set this set update data. I will manage here to do, and I will pass here update data. Okay, so basically what I am doing here is, once this value is, let it be initial value null. Okay, so initial value of this update data is null, and once anybody is clicked on handle update, I will set this to do and I will pass that state to this form data. In form data, let's come and here let's destructure this to do. So let's print this to do console.log to do, and here right now let's set this initial value as a false. So right now let me remove this and click on update. So here as you can see id1 I am getting, and on click of this id2 I am getting. Okay, so let me try to add a new to do, and here let me create, and if I click on this, as you can see I got this id. Okay, so right now here we need to write a logic on click of that button. So first of all, so the dialog box have to be open, means the to do form. So basically that we are managing from here this state. So I will call here handle change method, which will take care of that. Okay, and the next thing here is I am getting this to do, so I have to set this to do value. So instead of doing this here, I will use effect. Okay, and here I will pass this dependency as a to do, and now I will check if to do value is not null, then only set this to do to form data. Now let's save it and come back here. Let me click here on update, and as you can see I have this let's play. Okay, now as you can see it's working. If I click here on update, we have this thing. Now I have a to do, so I can show here update new to do, not add to do. Okay, so in order to do this, I will check here again this condition to do. If to do have something, that means here I need to return update to do. Okay, otherwise return this text add to do. Got it? And now let's see, we have this update to do. Okay, now let's forget about this text, means if you want you can do that actually. And here again I have to show a different button. So let me copy this and here paste it, and right now here update, and I will call it as so handle update. Let's do the conditional rendering. So here if to do is there, render this button, otherwise render this button. Means yeah, still you can do this, means you can toggle the handle update and you can toggle the text. You have this option. Okay, you don't need to write two buttons as well, but you have to write two conditions. That's why I prefer this method. So handle update, here let's define this handle update. Okay, and right now I need to dispatch a action. So dispatch, and again it's gonna to take a action which is a object, and type this time it's gonna to be update. So update to do, and payload will be our form data again. So form data. Got it? So now here what we are doing, on click of that particular button, here we will call this and we will do this. Now once any of the submit event has been called, I want to set form data value to null. Here set form data to initial state. Okay, or let's write a different function because I need to do it here again. So const reset form data, set form data, and this value, so initial value, and let's call this function twice. So first time here and second time here. Okay, so now everything looks good. Now let's get back here, and as you can see we have this update icon. Let's click on this update, but nothing happened here because we haven't written the function for it, right? As you can see here, once on click on this, it's getting called, but nothing is happening. So for that, here let's come to our reducer and we have to write a logic. So case update to do return and Todos, and this is gonna to be an object. Now I need to check and manipulate particular record. So for this I can use a map. So here I can write state dot Todos dot map. Okay, and map is a function which is gonna to modify the structure. So basically we will replace that particular object, okay, with the new one. So here I will write the logic. So if todo dot id, if it's matching with payload dot id, okay, then return payload, otherwise return todo. Okay, it might be confusing to you, but here let me tell you how it works. So here I wrote map todo, this is the one object I will get, and todo.id I am comparing with the payload id. If both are matching, it means I am trying to update that record only. So I am returning here that payload, the current payload, updated one. Now if not, return this, the old one. We are not doing anything. Now let's get back, close this, and let's click on this, and here let's change the date and mark it as completed. Update, here the status got changed. We have to increase the width, so let's do that. So here increasing the width, so in todo here I have defined 80, so let's mark it as a 90. Okay, it still might not be enough, so mark it as a 100 as well. Done. Now let's do this again. So update, here completed, and pass date here, and as you can see here we got this, but the form is not getting closed. We will see how to close it as well. Okay, so it's working. Now here the form itself is not getting closed, so handle change event we do have here, and we can call here on update, we can call handle change. Okay, so right now once we will update, the form will also get changed. So select this value and click on update, and as you can see the form has been closed. Okay, now here as you can see, if I have opened this and if I click outside, it's getting closed. I don't want user to allow to do that. We have this option dialog and on close, so we should remove this. So if I remove this property, it will not get closed on click of outside. So right now update, and as you can see I am clicking outside, it's not getting closed. If I click on update, it will update the value and it will get closed. If I click on cancel, it will get closed. So right now let's click on update, cancel, and let's click on add todo. So here as you can see todo play we have, and we are getting here update todo. And the problem is, so once we click on the update, the value in the update state is being stored. Okay, and on click of cancel we are not removing that. So let's do that. So here we will define a function and we will call it as handle close. Okay, and here set open, and here we will set this value to false, means we are closing. Okay, so right now let's pass this value to this to do form. Okay, it will work the similar way, and once we will click on that, it will get this call and it will set here value to null as well. Null. Got it? Now here again we have this handle change. I can call this one as a handle open. So handle open, and replace this and make this value directly to true. And here we need to, on click of update, yeah, definitely we have to open this. So handle open. Got it? So now here let's remove this and come back. So now let's click on update. So here we are getting update to do and with the value. If I click on add to do, here we are getting this add to do, but still I can see the previous state here. And I hope this is happening because of to do form. So here we are destructuring, and here I can add a else condition. Okay, and I can write, if it don't have this value, write here set form and make it as an initial state and save it. And let's get back here. So update, and as you can see here I got this as a new one. We have this pending, and right now click on add. So go for shopping and let's go tomorrow, and it's pending. Create. So now as you can see, go for shopping got added, but the problem is it's not getting closed. So now let's get back, and here handle submit, and once the add to do happens, I need to handle change this one. Okay, so better let's name it as a handle close because that make more sense. So handle close, and here as well handle close. Now need to pass it from here as a handle close. So done. Okay, so now let's do one round of testing. So update, I got this value, it's got updated. Now let's write complete, and as you can see everything is in green color. So now it might be we wrote some logic in different way. So let's go to do, and as you can see I am comparing here with a small p, it have to be here capital P. Now let's get back, and here as you can see pending one is in red. So let's come to the state reducer, and this have to be capital P and this have to be capital 1. Okay, click on this update. Update happens. Let's add a new to do. Let's play. Okay, and here it's pending. Done. And as you can see, let's play. It comes here. Okay, on 27th, and here we have this one. But right now we are getting couple of warnings. So encounter 2 children with the same name key. Let's play. Okay, in app here we are doing this. So right now instead of this I can use index, and I can assign this index. So we will not get this error anymore. Now we were looping again here. Okay, in a status. So here we need to pass this key. So let's pass this key as a status. Okay, so now let me refresh this. Here as you can see we have this one error, div cannot appear as a p paragraph tag. So let's come here to this to do, and here as you can see this chip, so basically we are rendering this one. So here let's write component and pass here a span tag. Now get back, let's refresh. So we don't have that error anymore. Let's convert this to do into this chip. So for that, here come to app, okay, and I need to write chip, okay, or it's better let's copy from here. So chip, and I don't think so I will get this error anymore, and here it have to be add to do, okay, there's no coloring, so color primary, done. Let's handle on click event, so on click, and let's remove this one. Come back here, we have this, and still a style is there, so mark it as a 150. So now as you can see we have unwanted import. So line number 322 app.js, so we are not using those property, so that has been removed. Get back again, here let me refresh, and this is in todo.js, so list has been defined but never used. So let's do this, and we don't have any error here more. So now here let's change the app name, so let's call it as Todo React Redux app, okay. So if you want here we can remove this property, so it will look middle, okay, and if you want to make it as a uppercase here you can do that. So right now I hope we are able to do all the operations, so let me show you once. So add, so let me add a new to do, so let's go for shopping, and I want to go on Saturday 20th, and still it's pending create, so it's got created. Now let me click on update, so it's too late, so make it as before as a 21st, and let's update it. So here as you can see it's got updated. Now on click of this here it will get deleted as well, so clicked and it has been gone, okay. So in this video we have built this to do application from scratch, and we have seen how to use Redux Toolkit in our application, and we have seen material UI uses as well, okay. So now you might have seen that this store and the reducer, Redux provider, and this action type have to be done only once, means main the logic you will write in reducer, and based on the type of the action you will be doing that, okay. You can get download link of this code in description of this video. If you have any doubt you can ask me in comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please do like, share and subscribe. See you in next video. Thanks for watching.